we are. So that's why I know it says starts at 11 a.m., but I've been starting it a little bit before that. And then that way, we don't have as much of a break between when the show ends and when we do this show. If anybody has complaints about that, by all means, let me know, because, this is to be interactive for you guys. But I kind of suspect the earlier the better, especially on a Bengals Sunday, especially when we're 2 hours away from kickoff. So the more information you know earlier, probably the better. That's what I think anyways. Nobody asked me. That's my favorite podcast. It's called Nobody Asked Me. Nobody Asked Us, I think is actually what it's called. Nobody asked us, but anyways, nobody asked me, but I'm telling you anyways. So I want to talk about the tropics, and I meant to get this graphic done before, and here I am talking about how I have extra prep time, and I forgot to do this graphic. I want to show you what's going on in the tropics because, of course, Helene is now just basically a low pressure system. I was watching, actually, just before we came on here, DeSantis is down there in Florida doing a press conference right now. He was actually touring some houses. Actually, I could probably show you. I think it was, that might be the wrong one. Oh, that is a rainy New York. There he is. So, he was touring some of these houses, obviously Team Rubicon, which if you're familiar with Rubicon, they go to all these disasters, tornadoes, hurricanes, whatever it may be, and lend some support. So Team Rubicon is there, obviously the Army is there, and several other officials, and just kind of holding a press conference about going forward. Unfortunately, I don't have the sound. There's probably a way that I will look into that because especially with these types of things happening during this time, it would be handy if we could pop those things up. But anyways, I was going to show you if you could see some of the damage, but they're kind of out of doing that at this point. So now he's just talking. So, but anyways, there are more systems out there, more tropical systems. There's right now a tropical storm and a hurricane in the Atlantic Ocean. Neither one of those are going to impact the United States. However, there are 3 more potential systems to be named this week. And one of them, actually 2 of them, have a good chance at impacting the United States. So I do want to talk about those. We'll get into that. But first, let's talk about our local forecast. Because as we know, even those tropical systems, as what just happened with Helene, can impact us here in the tri-state as well. So, and by the way, we've already picked up more than 3 inches of rain from Helene. We're at almost probably 3 1/4. If you take it back to what we saw Thursday night, throughout Friday, Saturday, and what we've already seen today. And that's just at CVG. Some spots have seen much more than that, but that's where we take our official measurements. So the headlines today that we're going to work through here on this show. Wet weather continues today, tomorrow, Tuesday. Not as much rain, but still kind of cloudy and damp across the area. So still dealing with kind of this similar situation that we've already had. Sunshine does return on Wednesday, but of course, seems like that's a ways away before we see some sun. 66 right now. I've been lowering and lowering our high temperature. I think I've ended up going with 68. Temperatures aren't going to budge very much today. 66, cloudy skies, damp conditions. Rain, radar is definitely a lot better than it was yesterday. So we're still seeing rain. We're still dealing with those showers across much of the region. So, when's it going to stop? Stop with sports and talk about storms. Well, we're the Bengals flagship station, so we talk about sports a lot here. When is the rain going to stop? Not till Tuesday. Not till really Wednesday, technically. But yeah, scattered showers across parts of the area. As you look at what Helene looks like right now, very disorganized, very kind of scattered. You can still see the circulation. You can still see the center of circulation here in Western Kentucky, but definitely not nearly as much rain, not nearly as organized as I mentioned compared to what we did see with Helene earlier. So let me see here. If I can, yeah, okay, here we go. Actually, this graphic might already be set up, what I was talking about. Perfect, okay. So let's just talk about these 3 systems because, again, there is Joyce and Isaac out there. Isaac is kind of way out here in the North Atlantic. Joyce is kind of in the center. Joyce is kind of here-ish. Neither one of them impacting land masses. So we'll talk about these. That is not what I meant to do. Actually, we'll do that, but not yet. Okay, so right now let's talk about these. So we have 3 systems. So the one closest to Africa, still making its way west, has a very small chance of forming in the next 7 days, but something that we'll be watching. The one directly to its west, this storm system does have an 80% chance of forming in the next 7 days. So this one we'll be watching very closely, even though right now it's still staying way out to sea. So maybe in the next couple of weeks, we'll have to be watching that very closely, or at least maybe 10 days or so. And then this storm system in the Western Caribbean, which this storm system, of course, is the one that could more immediately impact us. So in the next 7 days, it has a 50% chance of forming into a tropical system. In the next 48 days, 0%. So this is going to be something that happens later this week, but impacting parts of Mexico, Cuba, and then continuing to stay in the Gulf and impacting parts of the United States. So that one we'll be watching very closely. As of now, not a named storm, doesn't have an official track, but definitely something that in the coming days could become a problem for parts of the country. I'm sorry to hear that, Scott, but I would love to see some sunshine too. It definitely impacts your mood, no doubt about that. That's like, I mean, scientifically proven, but I mean, you just know it. You don't need science to tell you that. It's very obvious how much that sun makes a difference. Yeah, well, here's the problem, John. You know, as the saying goes, when it rains, it pours. And that has been very, very true lately. You know, we went from drought to some really, really heavy rain, and we got all of the rain that we needed pretty much for an entire month in a matter of 3 days. You have to remember Tuesday, we had 2 inches of rain. I think it was 2.04 at CVG. So if you include Tuesday through today, we've seen over 5 inches of rain. So in 1 week, not even an entire week, like 5 to 6 days. So we needed the rain, we got it, it can leave now. The good thing is with a little bit of the light rain, it's not causing flooding. So, you know, we can deal with it. So here are the current temperatures, mid to upper 60s. Again, this is pretty much where the temperatures will be all day today, not budging very much from where they are right now. So you're looking at 64 there in Batesville. I guess I'm covering that up. 66 in Harrison, 69 in Hamilton, Lunken 68, Batavia 65. So temperature is just going to be pretty steady today. 66 right now at CVG, winds light out of the northeast. Now the good thing is visibility has improved quite a bit. And a lot of times we look at visibility for how heavy that rain is. In other words, if the rain is really heavy, the visibility is very low. If the rain is really light, you'll be able to still see further off in the distance, unless of course there's like fog or mist or low hanging clouds. So a day like today is just kind of going to look like this all day, cloudy, kind of dreary. But I've been saying this and I can't get over this. Just probably Monday, when we looked at this view of Turfway Park, you could hardly tell the difference in color between the track and the grass because the grass was so dead. And now that we've seen 5 days of rain, I guess Tuesday, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 or 5 days of rain. I mean, it's now totally green. It's just crazy how much of a difference that rain has made, but it's been a lot of rain. So really not a big surprise. So scattered showers expected throughout, kind of off and on throughout the day today. We will see spotty rain continue tonight and off and on throughout Monday. Again, very spotty Monday, very spotty Tuesday, nothing heavy, nothing significant. Still cloudy. We really don't see the sunshine until we get into Wednesday. Let me look at this graphic. And so you can see kind of more of the big picture. You still see the circulation of Helene, but then by Tuesday, we start to see more improvement, but especially Wednesday. We dry out Wednesday. We see much more sunshine on Thursday. Friday is pretty much clear. Saturday is dry. Our next chance for rain will be next Sunday, which of course the Bengals are back in town on Sunday. Looks like that. It's another 1 o'clock game. So that rain might hold off until after the Bengals game. Somebody told me not to talk about sports, so I apologize, but I think a lot of folks care, especially if you have tickets to that game. Rainfall totals, additional rainfall on top of what we already have. And that's anything that falls today, tomorrow, Tuesday, less than ½ of an inch in any one area. Most of us closer to maybe 1/4 of an inch. So it's not a lot. It's just, again, it's just kind of adding to what we already have. Definitely creating more of a nuisance than anything, that's for sure. Yeah, so here's the deal with, let me first, let me talk about this, and then I'll talk about the drought. Oh, okay. So temperatures, again, today I lowered it into the 60s. Otherwise, every day is in the 70s. Mid 70s Monday and Tuesday, plenty of sunshine by the middle to the end of the week. Overnight lows drop down into the 50s, maybe even some upper 40s. If we get clear skies, kind of calm conditions, those temperatures will drop pretty quickly in the overnight hours, especially with the limited amount of daylight that we have this time of year. I think it's not going to be hard for those temperatures to plummet pretty quickly during the overnight hours. Saturday, we start to see the clouds increase ahead of those rain chances on Sunday. But again, Sunday right now, and that's still a week away, it looks like the rain holds off until late in the day. So we go from very wet weather, excessive rainfall, to dry conditions extending for a long period of time yet again. So we kind of go right back into maybe those drought conditions. So speaking of the drought, the interesting thing is, and let me show you the latest drought monitor, even though, again, keep in mind what happens here with this drought monitor. It gets released every Thursday. However, they take the information from the previous Tuesday. So it basically goes for an entire week from Tuesday at 8 a.m. to the next Tuesday at 8 a.m. So even though this was released on Thursday, that's when we first got the drought information released, it did not include any of the rain that we got on Tuesday, which again was 2 inches across much of the region. I think some spots saw 3 inches of rain. It did not include any of that, and of course this has not included any of the rain that we got from Helene. So it will be interesting to see how this changes. What's going to matter, and I think who was it that mentioned this? Carla mentioned, it's not just, okay, how much rain do we get? It's how much of that rain was able to soak into the soil? How deep into the soil did it go? It's how much of that rain evaporated, which not much, we kind of know that. But Tuesday's rain probably didn't make a big difference. However, the rain that we've gotten over the past couple of days, because it's been steady enough and it's been light enough that it was able to soak into that ground, I think it will make a bigger difference. Now, I can't say that I think we'll be out of the drought. I don't think it's a drought buster, so to speak, but I do think that maybe we see less of the extreme drought, which is now covering a large portion of the tri-state. I think that, even Highland County could see some improvement. Maybe they get out of exceptional drought. And I think these areas that are in moderate and abnormally dry, they may come out of that drought monitor, or they may just go to abnormally dry. So I do think there will be a change. I just don't think that because we got 5 inches of rain in just a few days, that it all was able to soak into the ground. I think it made a big difference for farmers. I think it made a big difference for folks' lawns. My lawn is completely different today than what it looked like a week ago. So all that to say, we'll just have to see what the drought monitor looks like this week when it gets released, because I do think it will change. I just don't know how drastic that change will be. A lot of the burn bans have been lifted. That's good news. Shows that there's some improvement. Yeah, it's been pretty incredible to watch how that grass has changed so quickly. As I mentioned, we've really seen it at Turfway Park every single day. It's been a huge improvement. So, okay. Yeah, so I talked about the tropics. We talked about the drought. We don't see any severe weather. My water bill needed the rain. Yeah, if you were watering the lawn and garden yourself, definitely doing a lot less of that. I washed my car last week, I think on Saturday or Sunday. Got the hose out to do that, and because it was dry for a couple of days. I guess it was Saturday, so then it was dry Sunday, Monday. Of course, Mother Nature washed the car there on Tuesday. But yeah, using the water hose probably didn't get much use this week. Okay. Let's look at radar again. Okay. So yeah, so again, back to the tropics, there are a couple more storms. I don't want to exit out of this before I've talked about it. So we do have Joyce and Isaac. Obviously, Helene has now no longer that's not what I wanted to do. No longer a system that the National Hurricane Center is tracking. Okay, so after Isaac and Joyce, it's Kirk and Leslie and Milton, but probably we'll see only a couple of those named this week if we get any. But yeah, there are several disturbances out there in the Atlantic Ocean and moving toward the Gulf that we will be watching for indirect impacts here, but also obviously we are very in tune with what's happening in the Gulf as well, especially for those folks that are still cleaning up. I mean, it's been just such an ongoing issue. So rain right now, not too bad. As you can see here, we just have a few scattered showers in Adams County. Very light rain there in Highland County, Brown, Claremont County. The heaviest of the rain, and the models did a really good job with this, has been further to the north, just barely north of our viewing area, closer to the Dayton and Columbus region, so kind of along I-70. But there is more rain to move through later today, as we do see kind of the wider view of Helene, but very scattered. So while we're not going to be dry for the rest of the day today, I've been saying the rain's going to be off and on, more off than on today. And then tomorrow and Tuesday, it's very few showers. The problem is tomorrow and Tuesday, it's still cloudy, it's still humid. It's going to feel and look like it could rain at any time. So that's what we'll be dealing with. Let's see. This one. Let's see what. Still doing a press conference there. Okay. So because I wanted to look at. There was another one of these that maybe it was here that was actually very pretty. Oh, you know what? It was really pretty. It is no longer. Oh, wow. That's crazy. I'm going to see if I can tell where this is. Okay, so this is Chicago, looking out over Lake Michigan, I would assume. That's the Chicago station. Yeah, that must be Lakeside Drive. Gosh, it was a half hour ago, it was beautiful. That's so crazy. Wow. That's how weather works, though, right? I mean, what's the saying? If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. I guess that's the case there. All right. I know you guys want to see the local weather, so. But just interesting to see how large of an area, Helene has impacted. Which actually, it doesn't look like there's too much rain there in Chicago, just kind of some clouds. But either way. And I believe the death toll from Helene is up to 56, probably going to rise, just because I think some folks are probably unaccounted for. Either way, just kind of devastating. They'll be cleaning up for it's, and that flooding in North Carolina and Tennessee has just been incredible. Okay, so I guess I've answered all your questions. I think that's about all that I have for you guys. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Ethan Emery is back tonight, so he will have your forecast and your streaming show at 6 o'clock. And then I'll be back on the air. Of course, Frank will be in early tomorrow morning, and then I'll be back on the air at 9. So I know I'm tired of it too. I'm good. We're good. We got enough rain. It can stop now. Couple more days of very light rain, and then it will finally be over. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great Sunday. Don't forget, I know somebody said don't talk about sports, but I'm going to talk about sports. The Bengals game is right here on Fox 19 now at 1 o'clock this afternoon, so please make sure that you tune in. Oh, I turned myself up. So make sure you tune into that, and then we will have more for you coming up tonight with your forecast and news headlines. All right, have a great day, everyone.